Hey, it's Mark Lanier with your video thought for the day. All right, so yesterday I did this video thought. I mean, it was long. It just went on and on and on. And it's all part of my Black History Month. It was about this white fella born in Hull, England. And I did the entire video thought for the day and never gave you his name. I got like 8 gazillion emails about it. We've tried to fix it on the internet. Bottom line is his name's William Wilberforce. And he's like really famous. He's the reason the slave trade was abolished in England. So look him up, William Wilberforce. But today, I want to keep on the theme of looking at great Christians within the movement to help progress this world in what we're calling Black History Month. And I want to talk about a Black woman today. Now, this woman, you'll know her as soon as I give you her name, and I'll try and remember to do it by the end of the video. But let me tell you a little bit about her first, so you don't just say, oh, I already know that. She was born in Maryland in 1820. And she was born a slave. And 1820 was a time where slavery was tough. I mean, look, she was 5 years old, I think 5 or 6, when she was hired out by her master to care for Miss Susan's baby. And one of the things that she would do is rock the baby to sleep. And if the baby started crying, the master would whip Harriet Tubman. Oh, I just gave her name. Would whip Harriet Tubman, the 5-year-old girl who's trying to get the baby to sleep. I was thinking about this with our kids. A couple of our kids, I'd have been whipped all my life if it was ever time they cried. But she got scars from that, physical scars that she carried all the rest of of her life. You know, when she was 13, the slave master was throwing a 2-pound metal weight at another slave boy and hit Harriet instead, cracked her skull, broke her skull. She had headaches and fits ever since for the rest of her life. She was about 27 years old when her owner was looking to sell her to some other slave owners that were in the Deep South. And Harriet just couldn't fathom getting further away from freedom than she was in Maryland. So she decided to run away. And she knew where the North Star was. Now, she couldn't read or write. She had strong Christian faith, believed that God would guide her. She had hymns and had memorized a good bit of scripture, even though she couldn't read and write. So she decided that God had given her the North Star and would give her the energy, and she had 2 feet. She walked 90 miles that first week, and she escaped into the North. Now, she had every reason. She got a job. She had every reason just to stay there, but she felt horrible about the slaves that were left. So she made at least 13 trips that I've been able to identify back and freed over 70 other slaves, took them on what was called then the Underground Railroad. I think it had gotten that name in like the 1831. There was a guy named David Tice who had swam for freedom across the Ohio River to get out of Kentucky into Ohio. And his master was following him. And as soon as he waded out of the river, as soon as David Tice waded out of the river, his master lost sight of him and said he disappeared. He must have found an underground railroad. And that's where the phrase came. But maybe the most famous conductor on the Underground Railroad was Harriet Tubman. She carried the nickname the Black Moses because she carried the people out of slavery, like Moses had done with the Israelites. She was a slight woman. She was about 5'3", but her faith was that of one of the most stout. She said, I only go where God leads me. And that's how she would know when to go. They traveled by night and sleep by day. During the Civil War, she worked as a nurse, but also as a spy. And she lived in relative poverty basically all of her life. But she had a saying, and this is what I really want to leave you with today. She said, I always told God, I'm going to hold steady on you, and you've got to see me through. It's not a bad life slogan. Always tell God, I'm going to hold steady on you, and you've got to see me through. She never feared. She always knew that God would see her through. A remarkable woman of faith that ought to be celebrated every month of the year. But it's your video thought for today.